Sugar, did you know that Black women are 41% more likely to die from breast cancer than our white counterparts? In this episode, we talk about everything from healthcare disparities to discrimination and the silent struggle of Black women and breast cancer. Okay, Sugar. So you just heard me say that Black women are 41% more likely to die of breast cancer. But did you also know that we have a reoccurrence rate that is 39% higher than white women? These shocking statistics are just one component of the many unique challenges that Black women face when battling breast cancer. So, Sugar, it's time to have a talk about our tatas. And joining us for the conversation is Ricky Fairley, breast cancer survivor and the CEO of Touch, the Black Breast Cancer Alliance. Hey, Ricky.
Hey, doctor. How are you? Dr. Care, how are you?
I'm doing well, Ricky. Thank you so much. So much for joining us today to have this very important conversation around Black women and breast cancer. And with this being October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I thought this was the perfect time to have this much needed conversation so that we can kind of feel this silence that we have, because it is a silent struggle. But before
Mhm.
before we just get in with all the things, tell the sugars, who are you?
So I'm Ricky Fairley. I am a 13-year survivor, just turned 13-year survivor of triple negative breast cancer. I'm a mom and a grandma of three. I'm the CEO and co-founder of the Black Breast Cancer Alliance, and I'm doing my God job. I know that God left me here to do this work. I'll give you a little snapshot of my story. I was diagnosed with stage 3A triple negative breast cancer. I had a double mastectomy. I had standard of care chemo, a lot of chemo, radiation. My doctor said, all right, you're okay after about 8 months. Come back in 2 months for a scan. And almost exactly a year to the day of my first diagnosis, they found 5 spots on my chest wall. My doctor said, okay, Ricky, you are now metastatic. I don't have any more drugs for you. You've got 2 years to live. Get your affairs in order. And I said, well, I can't really die right now. I have a daughter in college. I have things to do. I've got to pay tuition. So me, you, and God, we got to work this out. What have you got for me? And I went to Dr. Google, and everything on Dr. Google, you're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to die fast. If you're Black, you're really going to die fast. And on the third page of Dr. Google, I found the Triple Negative Breast Cancer Foundation. I called them, and they said, okay, we're going to find you a doctor in Atlanta where I live. And they found me an incredible oncologist, Ruth O'Regan. She's one of about 5 docs in the country at the time who are actually researching triple negative breast cancer. And she put me on some experimental drugs, and I did a lot more chemo, and I didn't die. And it's been 13 years.
Mm.
And so I know God left me here to do this work to help Black women. And that's what I do every day. I'm living my God job.
Well, first, I'm so thankful that God left you here to do this God work. Just hearing your story, and when you said going to Dr. Google, and it gives me chills, and it makes me wonder, how many other women are maybe experiencing the same thing that you did, or have loved ones that are experiencing the same thing that you did, and maybe not getting the answers or the care, or that you were able to receive. So I guess one of the first questions you mentioned, you said it was triple negative.
Triple negative, yes. I'll explain it. I can explain that if you want.
That's exactly, like, what exactly is that? What does that mean?
So there are actually several subtypes of breast cancer. Okay, so it's a type of breast cancer. And if you can imagine a cell, a cancer cell, and it basically has like a portal that you can put medicine into, right?
Okay.
So the first one is based on estrogen, which we all as women have. The second one is based on progesterone. The third one is based on an enzyme called HER2,
Mhm.
and it's an enzyme, a protein-based breast cancer. And then if you test negative for all three of those things, it's called triple negative. And triple negative, we don't have a portal to put medicine into. So it's the hardest one to treat. It has the highest mortality rate. We have the least treatment options. It comes back very aggressively, very readily and aggressive. Like mine came back in a year. And guess what? Black women had 3 times the rate of white women. And 40% of the patients are under 40. So you mentioned the stats earlier on when you started the episode. The one horrible fact that the worst one I think is horrible is that Black women under the age of 35 get breast cancer at twice the rate of white women and die 3 times the rate. Black women under 50 die at twice the rate of white women. And that the 40 numbers, well before you get that mammogram at 40, that 35 number. And they're getting triple negative so young and later stages because young women go to the doctor, present with a lump and say, this feels weird. The doctor says, oh, you're fine. It's just a cyst. Come back in 6 months. Well, 6 months later, they're metastatic or dead. And so they're dismissed. If you don't know how to fight for yourself,
Yeah.
you're going to be sick. And so it's a horrible situation for young Black women.
So as you were saying that, I was thinking about some recent conversations that I've had with some friends, and one friend, she was just telling me that she has a colleague that she knows, and I think this person is like 32, 33, years old. And exactly what you said, felt a lump, went to the doctor. Hey, let's get this checked out. And the doctor was like, oh no, it's
It's
fine.
not
It's
right.
nothing. You're not at 40 to start your mammogram. And not even, I think she said if it was 3 months, that's all it was. And I think she said type or whatever the highest stage 4,
Stage 4.
stage 4, and this young lady had just had a baby, and now this is
She is the norm. She is
no
such the norm. We lost a 23-year-old a month ago. We lost a 32-year-old a couple weeks ago, and a 32-year-old with 3 babies. And now we're sort of seeing this trend too a little bit. A lot of times, Black women will find a lump when they're nursing, or after childbirth when they're nursing, and so the doctors then kind of write it off to mastitis, and it's cancer.
breast
And so it's getting delayed again. So all this will delay is all, time is of essence when you have cancer. Every minute counts. And so when you get put off for even a month or 2 months, it's a lot of time. And cancer just grows very rapidly in young women. It just feeds on the estrogen in your bodies and it's killing us. We got to do better. But you can make decisions about and make choices for your health.
at a time.
And if you talk about it.
Right, right. Yeah, and that brings up the other point. The other friend that I was talking about, she was telling me that some of her in-laws, and relatives, that I think she said about 4 of the women in their family had
Yeah,
passed away, and all of them, exactly like you said, were under the age of 40.
yeah,
And
and they got
so,
something going on, and it's something, and if it's not genetic, it counts. That counts. Everybody in that family needs to get tested, men and women, everybody, both sides.
and that's the other thing, because a lot of times we hear breast cancer and we think just women, but men can get it as well in the tissue area that's on their chest. That's still
It's
breast.
still breast tissue. They still have breasts. I was with an event last night, and the keynote was a Black man who had breast cancer. Now, male breast cancer is 1% of breast cancer, so it's a small number, but most of them get it metastatic because they don't notice it. They're not thinking for it, they're not checking for it.
Yes,
And so when they identify it, it's pretty aggressive and it needs to, they don't know what's going on there, but it definitely, and male breast cancer is very associated with family history and the genetic mutation. So if you have the gene, the men in your family need to get checked too. But we now are identifying genes in West Africa and Ghana that could be attributing to breast cancer and especially triple negative breast cancer. So if you have a family history and you're Black, that's just as significant as having a genetic mutation. But part of it too, we don't talk about health as Black people. We don't talk about it. I had last year where the daughter at 38 had stage 3B triple negative breast cancer. It wasn't until she got sick that her mom and her mom's sister, her aunt, admitted that they had had triple negative breast cancer in the past 2 years. So the sisters didn't even talk to each other until the daughter got sick. And
and
so could she have gotten diagnosed at an earlier stage? Could she prevented it? Could she have, whatever, at least had some awareness about it? But, we don't talk in our families until Uncle Pookie gets his leg amputated. Well, how'd that happen? Or grandma is in the hospital. How'd that happen? And they're
Ex
like, until you're in a crisis, until you're
exactly,
in a crisis, the families aren't talking. I don't want to tell anyone. I don't want them to worry about me. I'm a
exactly.
God. I'm okay.
Business. I don't need everybody knowing. I don't need exact and that extent that's like you said, this is beyond. This could be like you said, Uncle Pookie got his leg. What
Right,
and we see things under the rug in the Black
right,
community, which is
right.
why I think this is a silent struggle.
It's a silent struggle. And then talk about prostate cancer in our Black men. Oh my God, don't even get me started.
We're just being so quiet about it, and that was one of the things that my mom, she was very, intentional about changing that. Even when I was a teen, it was like, "Okay, Tierney, listen, this is this because my great-grandmother died of ovarian cancer.
Okay, well, that's very
Yeah, she was very okay, listen, this is what it is. You have to get your annual pap smear every year, and this is this. And then when she started with her breast exams, and okay, Tierney, listen, you have dense breasts because I have dense breasts. So
right,
that's something different. And you could be more susceptible because it can hide and
right.
this. And so it was weird, of course, in my teens, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you have to do that." And I'm like,
That's what you got to do.
that's what you have.
And we're trying to teach young women to do it. You got to do it you got to do it. You got to learn in your teens. You got to learn in college. And really, as soon as you get breast tissue, you should be checking them. And they feel different, but you know what? It's all about knowing your norm. It's all about knowing your norm and saying, okay, wait a minute. This didn't feel like this last month. This didn't feel like this a week ago. And make it part of your routine. You're getting your nails done, your hair done, you're going to brunch with your girls. Make it part of your routine as a young woman. So you just make breast health and active self-care.
Mhm,
It's like, okay, I'm gonna get a massage, I'm gonna check my breasts.
mhm,
I'm
mhm.
gonna check my breasts and make it part of that. And that's what we're trying to teach them. We have a campaign called For the Love of My Girls.
Mm,
And if you check out loveofmygirls.org, spelled GURLS, it's really talking to young women, 18 to 35, who are healthy. And it's just getting them to know her story and have that conversation because it could come from anywhere. And you've got to just sit down and talk about it and understand what your risk is. And that's what we recommend for young women. Get a risk assessment.
yeah,
Get a risk assessment. If you have a family history, even if you don't, sit down with your doc and your doctor can do that. But that's what my daughter had, Amanda. She had a risk assessment, and her first risk, I think, was about 35%. Anything above 20 is that's the 1 in 8 women, right? And then as she went through the process, she was 38. She couldn't get a mammogram. It wouldn't let her. So as she went through the process, we had to fight for every way she got a mammogram. Every time they saw something that took it up. So by the time she had her surgery, her risk assessment was like 60%,
mm,
because the mammogram showed a little thing, then the sonogram showed some calcium deposits, then the MRI showed some, and that's how I started with
yeah,
calcium deposits.
mm,
So we couldn't take the risk, and now if you have that family history, your insurance should cover everything. And if they don't, call me, we'll work it out. We'll help you work it out because we've been through it, been done that kind of insurance. Because they will try not to pay for it, which is why they don't want to have a mammogram when you're under 30,
exactly.
because the money. But and if you think the guidance that we have, if you read the U.S. Preventative Task Force guidance, there's no guidance for Black women. We need more research to know that Black women need that need
Care that we need.
crop. What do
Yeah,
you need more than the fact that women under 35 get at twice the rate, die
yeah,
3 times the rate? What more do you need?
yeah. What are some of the signs, the symptoms, the things that we need to really be like we talked about genetics and family history. You mentioned stress, how does chronic
Yeah,
stress so
yeah.
what are the things that we need to then our mental, the socioeconomic, what are the things that we need to look at that could be driving, the statistics where Black women and breast cancer are concerned?
Well, breast Black women actually get breast cancer less than white women. The overall number, 1 in 8 women will get breast cancer. For Black women, it's 5% less. So our incidence is actually lower overall, with
Mm,
the exception of young women. Young women under 35 get it at twice the rate of white women. So I mean, kind of you can't really prevent breast cancer. You can only early detect it.
Right.
But the things that kind of cause cancer are the things that cause everything, eating healthy, working out, taking care of your body, exercising, doing all those things. But you really can't prevent it. It's gonna, if it's coming, it's coming, and you have to catch it early. And the earlier you catch it, the better. And
Mm,
so that's why you have to be diligent about self exams and and your mammograms when you can get. We actually also use another screening tool called BEXA. If you go to bexaalliance.org, it's actually been around for about years, but never commercialized, and we're helping bring it to the community. And we take it on events, but it's a little kind of mouse thing. They rub over your boob, and it actually identifies masses in your breast. There's no radiation, called elastography, and it identifies masses, and it's very good for dense breasts.
mm,
Black
mm.
women have and young Black women have very readily, and it identifies a mass. And if it finds a mass, it'll automatically give you a sign. You can get the pathology back within instantly, know that something's wrong, and it to get it checked. So we work with them and take them to a lot of events with us. We can bring a screening device to young women in the community. Yeah, but I think, I had to learn through my experience, my breast cancer experience, that my peace is non-negotiable. And Black women we take on everything. We're the mama, the auntie, the grandma, all the things. We do all the things in the house. We're often the breadwinner. You know, 72% of Black women are single moms.
Mhm.
We're taking, and even when we're married, we're still still maybe the breadwinner, still maybe doing a lot of things in the household. So it's just, find your peace, and try to keep stress out of your life. I'll tell you my stress story, but my my first meeting with my nurse navigator, she said, and a navigator is someone who kind of helps you with your care. She said, Ricky, you are so stressed out. You are so stressed out. You need to get the stress out of your life before you can even get from cancer. I said, well, I don't even stress. Stress is a cop out. It's for wimps. And I was yelling at her. What am I going to do? Not feed the kid? Not how do I know I'm stressed? Because I'm not stressed.
Yeah.
And she said, well, how many times a day do you either think or say the word asshole?
Mm, mm,
So, and in my head, I never said it out loud, but in my head, that was the name I called both my husband of 30 years and my business partner of 10 years all day long. Probably have time. That was their name. That's what I called them. And so I had to, that's now my filter, but I had not only to get the cancers out of my body, but all the cancers out of my life.
that
And I changed everything about my life. I sold my house. I divorced my husband of 30 years. I quit my business partners. I started my own company, and I moved to the beach to find peace in my life. And now I don't drive in traffic. And if I ever think the word asshole of anybody, see you, bye, I gotta go. I'm
yeah,
done.
yeah, yeah. No, that is so good on so many levels because as I was kind of doing some reading and I was seeing that the chronic stress was showing up for
Yeah,
heart disease. It was
heart
showing
disease, everything.
everything. And so as Black women, we have to I, I cannot. I've started to really resent and despise that strong Black woman title. Like we've
Right.
adopted that and we've taken that
And
on. Like
the
we
world has adopted it. The world has adopted. We can't get pain meds, doctor, like all the things, and it's killing us.
don't fracture. We don't. And in doing what I do, I see us crumbling. I I see my Black sisters and brothers crumbling under the
Stress.
narrative of
Yes.
you have to be strong, and all it's doing is eating us up from the inside out. So when we're talking about breast cancer and all of our health, it may not be it's like with genetics or other factors
All
that
the
might
things.
cause it, but it can surely make you more susceptible to it, vulnerable to it, and make that thing just proliferate in our bodies in a way that, is really unhealthy for us
It
because
is.
we are carrying and have normalized this lifestyle of stress. So I commend you for doing what you needed to do, getting rid of what you needed to get rid of, basically exercising some boundaries for
Yes.
your life so that you can have the peace that you needed in order to kick cancer's butt. Ba
Yeah.
and so that's something, sugars, if you don't hear anything else that we're saying, that stress, it has to go. It is killing us from the inside out. It sincerely, it really, really is. No,
That we're doing, with Dr. Melissa, is measuring the impact of stress, but also in combination with all of those other things.
correct.
The biology, the genetics, the environment, to see what the sort of gestalt effect of all these things are. But one of the researchers on our team, Lauren McCullough, she's at Emory, and a lot of study on Black women versus white women. And her data shows that Black women who have good insurance, good health insurance, still have a 62% higher mortality than white women with the same insurance. So people want to say, oh, it's the poor people, they don't have access, but it's no, it's because, and guess what? Black women who live in a high socioeconomic neighborhood
Mhm.
have a 126 higher mortality rate than the white women in the same neighborhood. And why is that? It's because of the discomfort of living in the neighborhood, because of the racism in that neighborhood, because of the stress that's caused on these women who have now done well for themselves. Don't have financial issues, but they're still living with the stress of racism where they live in the white neighborhoods. So it's showing that it's all of these things. It's biological. It's not, there's not just one thing causing it. And all of these factors are playing a role. So if you can control any part of your life, know your history, know that part, you can control that and
Yeah,
control your stress.
the stress.
So
Oh my gosh, but as you were saying that, it's like absolutely. When we go into certain rooms or certain environments, there's a
yeah,
tension that we automatically, and when I
yeah,
did the body movement, every Black woman on here understands exactly.
right. You know it.
You
Yeah.
know, you know what that is without having
You
to
know, that is stress. That
that.
is stress on your body, stress in your mind. When you go, ugh, that's
Yes,
stress.
yes, and we don't even see it anymore because we've done
You
it
know,
our lives.
our whole lives. And especially if you work in a white environment. I worked in corporate America for many years, and I was the only Black woman in the room, the only Black in the room. And all that stuff just went into my body because we internalize everything. We don't have time to deal with it because we got to feed the kid. We got to go to work. We got to do the thing. We got to, we don't take the time to say, wait a minute, you know,
Yeah,
and we don't even realize what's giving us stress.
it's oh my goodness.
I know
That
before I had breast cancer, I always had a sinus infection, a yeast infection, a headache, or some kind of physical symptom that my body was telling me that something was wrong and I was ignoring it.
is too much.
And then
Yeah,
I and
yeah.
then God, yeah, Ricky, done. You're done. I'm sick of giving you little warning signals. Here's your mission.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you're absolutely right. The back pain, the ache,
Right,
the swollen feet, the little things that we just go and get a Tylenol for, and we
right,
don't see it as a systematic, you know,
right,
our entire systems that it's signaling that something is wrong. And I 100% agree with you. 9 times out of 10, there's something that stress is exacerbating, but
right.
this is keeping us from actually locking into
Yes.
what it is,
What it is. Yeah,
and therefore, how can we be the CEO of our life, of our bodies, and advocate for it when we don't even pay attention to what's happening within
yeah,
it, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Uh,
I think
that
of another journey too that, the products that we use, hair color, perms, all that stuff is now known to cause cancer.
yeah,
And careful, use Aveda products, Um, but look at the products that you're putting on your body and you're putting in your body.
yeah,
Look at the labels and make sure they don't have parabens. And, there's lots of websites now you can go on to figure out. We work with and her website is mystylematters.org. And she helps you figure out what things are good for you or not.
yeah,
Watch what you put on your body. We're putting all this stuff to be cute. So I think about, your glam squad needs to really be your health squad.
yeah, yeah,
You got
yeah,
glam squad. You need to be thinking about what's going in your body, what you're putting on your body, and all those things count.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. This is because when I first started hearing the term like vegan cosmetics or, vegan, and I was like, what makes it vegan? Until I started learning more about even in our deodorants, I was reading
Every everything. Yeah,
the hormones or something that they like the body washes to give it
yeah,
scent that can interfere with our
yeah,
hormones and exacerbate again
yeah,
some of these things. So basically, sugar, we're saying environmental, we're saying our nutrition and our
yeah,
lifestyles. We are
yeah,
saying genetics and our stress. Like those are things we really need to be looking at when we're thinking about our overall health, absolutely, but also in this conversation, the narrative of breast cancer. Uh, Ricky, you mentioned about when we go to the doctor and we say, "Hey, I feel something here," and we're not necessarily getting the care.
yeah.
Um, I think another component of that is that we don't know what questions to ask. We don't know
We
how.
don't, and we have a tool for that on our website.
And I was about to say, how, what would you tell the sugars in terms of if you're going to the doctor, these are the top things to ask for or to look at or to get your doctor to check for you. What are some of the top things that the sugars need to be aware of when going to their doctor and making sure that they are taking care
Yeah,
of their.
if you don't have cancer, just do an exam. Give me an exam. Give me a breast exam, and if you find something unusual, make them check it out. You need to get a mammogram. Mammogram's still our tool for identifying cancer. You need to get and you need to get a 3D mammogram. 3D.
Okay.
3D mammogram, it looks at it from a broader perspective. A 2D mammography shouldn't even be around. If your facility has a 2D mammogram, you need to change facilities because it shouldn't even be around. It's irrelevant for Black women. So you want a 3D mammogram, and you want to be checked out. You want a thorough checkout. You want your blood out. All the things that happen with a physical, a Pap smear. But I think, and if you're not getting that care, they need to go to another doctor. You can fire the doctor. I mean, we live in this world of health and equity, and not
Mm,
every doctor is a good doctor. They go on every day like we are. Um, but and I don't believe we're going to get to health equity until everybody practices the golden rule. For the
yes.
top years, 2 years, treat others as you want to be treated. So if you feel like that doctor isn't giving you the attention you want, you say, "Is this how you would treat your mama, your auntie, your grandma, your daughter? That's the treatment I want. I want the treatment you would give to them, to the people that you love. And if you can't give that to me, I gotta go, and you gotta get another doctor. And it's okay to fire your doctor. It's okay. They went to med school, whatever. But if they're not giving you that care that you need and that you deserve, I want you to say, I'm going to treat you like family.
Yeah.
I'm going to treat you like, and often too, when they prescribe things and you don't feel it, when something's not right, it in our gut, question. And if you have cancer, how did that work on the Black woman that you gave it? That
Mm-hmm.
work. You only have patients that you did recommend that you have. How's that working for you? And challenge it. I've been thrown out of many doctors' offices by asking that question
And
because
and
what
that's
the
true.
protocols are not in our favor. For example, when you have cancer, like the early stages of cancer, stage 0 and stage 1, they want you to get a lumpectomy, take a piece out, take a chunk out. Well, Black women have a 39% higher recurrence rate.
Yeah.
Why is the data shows that if you have, or the protocol shows that if you get a lumpectomy and have radiation, it's equivalent to getting a double mastectomy. Well, guess where what study was done? Sweden.
All right. Well,
Why are Black women getting have a 30% higher? So you have to do all the things, do all the things, do all the things. And I wasn't really attached to my breasts, but you don't need them. Amanda has beautiful new boobs now from surgery. She got sensation. She kept her nipples. She has no scars. It was a 5-day recovery. Like, think about what you're doing. Think about, you don't want this to come back. I met a woman yesterday who had 4 recurrences of breast cancer. Well, what do you have? Like little things all over your boobs. Like, why did you do that? Because the doctor said it was okay. The doctor said that was all I needed.
mm,
Black, that is all you need. Do all the things. Take
mm.
care of it. Take drastic measures in your life. because this stuff will come back. I
Yeah.
mean, it's coming back, and the only way not to come back is to get rid of your breast tissue. And I got rid of my breast tissue, and mine still came back because it was triple negative. So, what
And
was it?
I think that's the thing. It's giving ourselves permission to keep pushing for the things that we need because a lot of times well if the doctor says it because the doctor is the authority, the doctor is the one that but you know your body. You
Yeah,
know when something is not right. So like you said, if they get mad, oh well, I'd rather they be mad than I be alive.
you're also now learning though, and we can talk about this in a minute. We participate in a lot of the science because the science is not in our favor. We're now learning that a triple negative cell, a breast cancer cell from a black woman, looks totally different than a breast cancer cell from a white woman.
Mhm, mhm,
Negative cells are like night and day. So all of the drugs that we have right now, guess what? We're tested on white cells, white women, white bodies, not black bodies. So our mortality rates are so high
mhm.
because the drugs don't work. They don't work on our bodies. They were never tested on our bodies. And frankly, every black woman that takes chemo, it's almost like doing a clinical trial in her own body because we don't know if it's going to work.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Oh, there's so much to unpack.
There's so much.
Oh my gosh, like, as you were giving the stats, it and some of this, because we've talked before, so some of this, we've talked about or heard, but to hear it all together, it's almost overwhelming,
It's
you
scary.
at this overwhelming rate that breast cancer is just really taking us out, as
Us out.
women.
It's taken us out. It's taken our babies out. It's taken our young women out. And there's so many things that we don't know, that we don't know. There's so much science that we don't have. And we're seeing this data about the variances in black and white cells across a lot of cancers now.
Mm,
State, lung, and no one's really paying attention to it. I work with some amazing scientists now, Dr. Melissa Davis at Morehouse School of Medicine, and we're doing a big study, a 5-year study, a Cancer Grand Challenge to understand what these differences are. And they're biological, they're genetic,
mhm,
genomic, which is the biology of a cancer cell, they're environmental, they're social.
yeah,
So the stress that you feel in your daily life of stress, those stresses cause stresses on a cancer cell that are different from white people. So racism is a factor in the biology of your cancer cell. And so we're studying all that to say, what can we do differently? But we're studying now the cellular side of the cancer. That means we're years away from drugs,
yeah,
years, because we haven't even gotten to the point where we can say, all right,
yeah,
deal with these cells differently to make this drug.
yeah,
But it's so important for us to participate in this research as Black women, as Black people, so that we can reflect this data as these drugs are being developed. We did some research a couple of years ago on clinical trials to understand why aren't we participating in clinical trials? We have a 3% participation, right? Why aren't
mhm,
we participating? And guess the number one reason is doctors don't invite us.
wow,
Doctors don't invite us to clinical trials for whatever illicit bias, racism. She's a single mom. She's not going to show up. Whatever the reasons are, they don't invite us. The second and really equally important reason is I think I'm going to get a sugar pill and die. So
mm,
think about it.
mhm,
Do you know what a clinical trial is, how it works? How would you know? If your
yeah,
doctor didn't tell you and you heard of it, you heard of Henrietta Lacks, you heard of a syphilis study, but no
and
one
that
ever
that's
explained to you
another thing
what,
with our
what
community,
yeah,
we know
yeah.
the Tuskegee experiment, so when we hear clinical trial, we're just
But
like,
if you ask people what happened at Tuskegee, they
"Mm,
don't know.
no."
They can't explain the science and why it failed, and they can't explain why a clinical trial what it is right now. And it's really you're going to get standard of care. You're going to get a drug. You're going to get a cancer drug that's already there. And is it the best drug for you? Maybe not, but you're going to get something, what's available. Or you may get something on top of that or something totally new.
Yeah,
And you're going to get a better care, quality of care, because more people are going to be prodding you, poking. You're going to get
what
more gains, more care. And we know we have better outcomes from trials. And so it's if you're a Black woman under 40 and you get triple negative breast cancer, a clinical trial is where you need to be. That's the best care you're going to get. You could be getting a medicine that may not be on the market for 5 years, but it's working.
Mhm,
And it can. And guess what? If it doesn't work, they'll stop. Somebody's gonna watch you so closely, they'll stop and give you something else.
mhm,
In the best situation you could be in with a trial. And it's simple stuff like that Advil you took last week, it
mhm,
was in a clinical trial. That heart medicine I give my dog Harper, it was in
mhm.
a
It was in
trial.
a clinical trial.
The
Yeah,
chemo that you're taking right now, it's a clinical trial in your body. You don't know if it's gonna work. So don't be afraid of them because they are the best science
yeah.
and the drugs we have now so many clinical trials for triple negative. We only have 2 drugs for triple negative right now on the market. So the trial drugs are really where you need to be at the care you want, especially if you have advanced disease. You can get up from initial diagnosis.
Yeah, so how would they access so if I have a doctor and, we now have this diagnosis, and my doctor is not making a trial available to me or making
Right.
it to me. How would I find information about the trial? Where would I then do I need my doctor to sign up for a trial? Like how where's the door to the
Yeah.
clinical trial?
So our website is called whenwetrial.org. Whenwetrial.org. We have a portal on our site that will help you find a trial. You can go in, you can call us, we'll help you find a trial. But you go to another doctor. If your doctor's not doing it, and a lot of trials happen at the bigger medical centers, and but we'll help you find somebody. And I think you just have to be really persistent about the trial because your doctor's going to try to not lose you as a patient for one thing. They don't want you going someplace else, right?
Yeah.
But it's really if they don't have it there for you, it's not the best medicine you can get. You have to find the best medicine you can get, and we're happy to help you do it. We've now signed up 20,000 Black women for clinical trial portals
That's
past
amazing.
3 years with our When We Trial. And we have a lot of videos on our site with women explaining their experience and saying, this is what happened to me. If I didn't do my trial, I wouldn't be here. And
Mm,
explain, so they can see the information about a trial with words they can spell,
mhm,
right?
yeah.
Bless you. We break it down for you and help you understand it. And you can see women who've lived the experience and have that advantage. And we have a portal there. We'll get your information. We'll take you into the portal about, it's like putting a hug around the clinical trials portal from the government, but we'll help you figure out what do you need. And then you can go back to your doctor and say, you know what? I found this trial. I want to try it. We also have some of the latest and greatest doctors. I mean, the doctors do latest and greatest work on our medical advisory board that we will send you to and help you find somebody in your neighborhood. And a lot of trials are now telemedicine. You don't have to be in the same city. We're
Mhm,
actually working with a couple of people in Congress to get legislation to say that if you find a trial in a place where you're not, that your insurance will cover the cost of you going there or having to travel. So we're working on legislation right now, but we're just trying to help more science happen because we need better drugs. We need the drugs and we need for women to be a part of it, Black women to be a part of it. So, but we're happy to help you when we trial.org. Ricky at touchbbca.org. Email me, call me. We will help you find one and put you in touch with the doc that will help you. Our biggest kind of platform for information is our show, The Doctor Is In. So we're on the Facebook page of blackdoctor.org every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock Eastern. And we talk about anything and everything breast cancer. My co-host is Dr. Monique Gary. She's an awesome breast surgical oncologist in Pennsylvania. And she kind of brings the science. I bring the breast 11. We talk about everything. So this week we're talking about lobular breast cancer, which is a rarer form of breast cancer. We talk about mindfulness. We talk about surgery. We talk about everything. We talk about the latest trials. And so we try to make it a platform for information. We probably reach about 3 million people a year. We have about 5 to 10,000 every week, but come on and watch us. You can watch it on Facebook anytime. Our Facebook page, the blackdoctor.org Facebook page, it's on our YouTube channel. So that's there. We have another show called Pink Table Talk that my daughter Haley does. She knows my 32-year-old's my boss. And she talks to young women on the last Sunday of the month. And they talk about breast health. And her campaign is for the love of my girls. That website is loveofmygirls.org. And it's spelled GURLS. We have great content about knowing her story and talking to your family. We're about to blow that out into its own website in the next couple of months. We have 2 support groups that meet monthly, one specifically for triple negative on the first Tuesday of every month at 8 o'clock at night. And this is all on our social media. And on the first Saturday of the month, we just had it yesterday for this month of October. And we talk about, I'm mad at my husband today, whatever the topic is, or I have lymphedema, what do I do? We have a program called Belong. Is blessed is empowering leadership and opportunity and nurturing growth. If you are a small support group in your neighborhood, in your community, if you have a support group or have a smaller 501c3 and you need help, we provide leadership coaching. We provide medical training. We do a monthly webinar to help people like leaders that are women who are doing the work, who are driving people to chemo, helping babies, taking care of your house, whatever you need that may not have resources that they need. We try to bring you resources and bring you information. We do that every month. And it's just all on our social media. It's called Belong. Let's see. We we are in the community. I like to say that we go where Black women live, work, play, pray, and slay. Or we do an event somewhere pretty much every week. I think year to date, we've done 100 events around the country. So if you have an event and you want a partner, you need help, we can bring you information, bring you research. We'll try to come out and our videos are all online. You can use them, but we're happy to help support education anywhere, anywhere. And our bond program, we're represented pretty much in 43 states now. We're trying to get to 50 states. And we try to be here for you. We're on a mission to advance the science. We want to eradicate Blackness. I really feel like we've been so blessed, so blessed. Thank you, God, for giving us a seat at the table for most of the pharma companies making breast cancer drugs. And we talk to them and coach them and help them recruit Black women for trials. But we have to fight this fight every day to get the care we need.
Absolutely, absolutely. Rick, so I knew, like I said, some of the things that, that Touch did, but just hearing you lay it all out, oh my hat's off to you, because you are truly an embodiment of what the Bible says, fighting the good fight. That you've taken on a good fight, and the
good trouble, right?
Trouble that you are doing with your company. I absolutely commend you. Sugars, if you or a loved one not just need, the support of Touch, but if you are maybe an executive at a, pharmaceutical company, get Ricky in the door. If whatever we can do to be the hands and feet to help, help you, like cancer doesn't have to show up in my house in order for me to help you. And this is why I wanted to have this conversation, to put the information out there so we can all rally around this, because one day it might be me, one day it might be another Sugar, one day
we all have a story. We all have a story, and
exactly.
Nobody can fight this fight alone. We have to be.
Exactly. Ricky, I appreciate you giving us, like you said, you're fighting on Capitol Hill and FDA. So I appreciate you giving us and me and the Sugars a piece of your time today to share this important information with us. If there's anything that we can do, from our, place, not just to keep ourselves healthy, but to continue to help this message propel forward. I definitely want to make that information available, to the Sugars, so that we can, it might just be sending an email. It might be, whatever we can do to band together, because this is a very serious issue and it's been silent too long. We
can't let our babies die.
Absolutely, Ricky. Well, Ricky, I thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Sugar, if you or a loved one are looking for breast cancer resources, support groups, or just more information about how you can help advance the science into Black breast cancer, please be sure to visit any of the links that I've provided below in the description. Thanks for watching, Sugar. See you in the next video.